Welcome to the Steelers Fix podcast, and before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube. Steelers Fix is where all the real Steelers talk lives. Let's get into it. This game right here. This is exactly why the Steelers brought Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh. Not for headlines, not for buzz, but for games like this, in stadiums like Baltimore, in moments where your quarterback has to step up and carry the team. And on Sunday, that's exactly what Rodgers did. We all know the Steelers-Ravens rivalry. It's violence, emotion, heartbreak, and bragging rights wrapped into one. 60-plus games since Baltimore became Baltimore after leaving Cleveland, and more than 40 of those have been one-score battles. And this one fit right in. Another classic in a rivalry built on pain and pride. The Steelers walked into M&T Bank Stadium, having lost 5 of their last 7. Things were sliding. The season was tilting. As Bubby Brister once put it, things were fixing to come unglued. And they weren't playing some struggling team. Baltimore had won 5 of 6, running the ball down everyone's throat and bullying defenses just like they had bullied the Steelers earlier this year. Pittsburgh desperately needed a counterpunch. They needed their offense to help the defense instead of leaving them stranded. Protect the football, convert third downs, finish drives with touchdowns, not field goals. And Rodgers stepped in like an old-school chef in the kitchen, putting everything together. Baltimore opened the game with a field goal. Fine. Then Rodgers took the field and made a statement on the very first play. A perfect 52-yard bomb to DK Metcalf down the sideline. Just dropped it right in the bucket. You could feel the entire stadium shift. A few snaps later, Rodgers kept it on play action and ran in a touchdown from the 1. Steelers take the lead 7-3, and more importantly, take control of the game's tone. Pittsburgh's first 4 drives: touchdown, punt, field goal, touchdown. When's the last time we said that? Rodgers was sharp, decisive, poised. The offense was balanced, intentional, and actually finishing drives. The Steelers went into halftime up 17-9 with more yards, better third down numbers, and efficiency in the red zone. Baltimore was officially on notice. This wasn't going to be one of those grind-you-to-death Ravens wins. They were going to have to match Pittsburgh's score for score. And for once, the Steelers didn't collapse in the third quarter. The Ravens kicked off to start the second half and sailed it out of bounds. Free yards. Rodgers took them and then immediately hit Metcalf again for 41 yards. Later, he found Jaylen Warren wide open on a beautifully designed call. Warren took it 38 yards untouched for a massive touchdown. On another drive, Rodgers delivered a clutch 3rd and 5 strike to Calvin Austin for 31 yards to flip the field. Everything was clicking. Rodgers said after the game that Arthur Smith came in with an aggressive mindset. They were going to push the ball downfield, take some shots, and once DK got rolling, they were going to keep feeding him. And honestly, that's how it looked. Rodgers had juice. He was communicating constantly, controlling the tempo, and playing with that old Rodgers swagger. Mike Tomlin summed it up perfectly afterward. That's why you do business with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. Thick days like today, he's a been-there-done-that guy. But Baltimore wasn't going away quietly. Lamar and Derrick Henry clawed them back into the game, cutting the score to 27-22 late. Then came the moment that almost broke Steelers fans everywhere. The touchdown throw to Isaiah, likely that looked like it gave Baltimore the lead. But Joey Porter Jr., who has become a rivalry player in his own right, knocked the ball loose before likely completed the process. Overturned. Massive moment. Baltimore still had chances. They drove deep into Steelers territory again. 3rd and 2 at the Pittsburgh 5. Alex Highsmith blows up Derrick Henry in the backfield. Then on 4th down, Lamar goes to Mark Andrews, but Patrick Queen is all over it. Incomplete. Pittsburgh couldn't close the game out offensively and punted back with under 2 minutes left. Baltimore drives to the Steelers' 30. The stadium is shaking, 9 seconds left, season-defining moment. Lamar drops back, and Alex Highsmith, who had been cranking up the pressure all half, explodes off the edge and sacks him to end the game. Cam Hayward right there with him. Ball game. Steelers win 27-22 in Baltimore. A rivalry moment added to the long list of legendary finishes. Rodgers finished with 284 yards, 103.1 passer rating, and complete command of the offense. DK Metcalf was unstoppable. 7 catches, 148 yards. The run game wasn't there, just 34 rushing yards. But Rodgers made up for every bit of it. Tomlin said Rodgers was wired all week. Texting him after hours, pushing the plan, bringing leadership into the building. And it showed. This was his best performance as a Steeler, not just statistically, but in the way the team fed off him. The win puts Pittsburgh at 7-6, back on top of the AFC North, with a brutal stretch ahead. Miami, Detroit, Cleveland, and then Baltimore again. But for today, this was one of the biggest wins of the season, one the Steelers absolutely needed, and one that reminded everyone exactly why Aaron Rodgers is wearing black and gold. Thanks for tuning in to the Steelers Fix podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube for daily Steelers breakdowns, clips, reactions, and all your Steelers news. Here we go.